The sea did not ask permission before it took everything away. One moment there was power, wealth, plans measured in millions, and the quiet dignity of a tired single father trying to protect his child. The next moment there was only fire in the sky, broken metal sinking into blue darkness, and two lives thrown onto the same stretch of merciless sand. Stranded on a desert island, fate twisted itself so tightly that survival itself began to feel like a vow, and somewhere between hunger, fear, and hope, a powerful CEO would whisper a thought she never imagined having, one that could change both their lives forever. Before the waves carry you deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strange miracles life creates in its darkest moments, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Daniel Harper had never planned to be a single father. Life had decided that for him the day his wife died giving birth to their daughter, Lily. From that moment on, Daniel learned to live quietly, carefully, measuring every decision by how it would affect a small life that depended on him completely. He worked modest jobs, saved every coin, and carried exhaustion like a second skin. Love, for him, was no longer romance or dreams. Love was making sure Lily ate before he did. Love was holding back tears so his child would never feel afraid. On the opposite end of the world stood Amelia Ross, a name known in boardrooms and business magazines. She was the CEO who turned failing companies into empires, the woman praised for her brilliance and feared for her cold precision. People admired her strength, but few knew how lonely that strength felt. She had built walls higher than any skyscraper she owned, believing emotions were weaknesses she could not afford. Control was her safety, and independence was her shield. Their lives were never meant to touch. Yet fate placed them on the same private flight, crossing a vast ocean toward different destinies. The storm came without mercy. Turbulence turned to chaos, screams drowned under roaring wind, and then there was nothing but darkness and impact. When Amelia opened her eyes again, the world had shrunk to sand, sky, and pain. The wreckage burned behind her like the ashes of the life she once commanded. Daniel woke with blood on his forehead and panic in his chest, his first instinct not fear for himself but terror for Lily. He searched the shore with shaking legs until he found her alive, weak but breathing. Relief broke him in a way he had never allowed before. Only after holding his daughter close did he notice Amelia nearby, injured, silent, and stripped of every symbol of power she once wore. The island was cruel in its beauty. Palm trees swayed gently while hunger gnawed at their bodies. Fresh water was scarce, nights were cold, and hope faded with every passing sunrise. Daniel did what he had always done best. He adapted. He gathered food, built shelter, and protected Lily with fierce devotion. Amelia watched him, confused by how a man with nothing still carried so much purpose. Her intelligence meant little here. There were no assistants, no technology, no boardrooms to dominate. For the first time, she felt helpless. Days turned into weeks. Amelia's injury slowed her, and Daniel supported her without complaint, without expectation. He shared food equally, taught her how to survive, and never once reminded her of her weakness. Slowly, something inside Amelia cracked open. She began to see the world through a different lens. Daniel's quiet strength humbled her. Lily's laughter, even in such harsh conditions, softened her heart in ways she could not explain. The island tested them relentlessly. Storms destroyed their shelter. Illness threatened Lily's life. Fear crept in during long nights when the sea felt endless and rescue seemed impossible. Amelia learned what it meant to care without control, to trust without contracts. Daniel, in turn, saw a side of Amelia no one else ever had. Beneath her sharp mind was a woman carrying years of loneliness, pressure, and unspoken grief. As survival blurred into routine, emotions grew deeper. Amelia found herself depending on Daniel not just for survival but for emotional grounding. The idea terrified her. She had spent her life believing independence was everything, yet here she was imagining a future that required someone else. In moments of desperation, when rescue felt like a fading dream, a thought escaped her heart, a fragile, honest question shaped by fear and hope. If they could not leave this island, could love itself become their escape? Daniel did not see it as a bargain or a trap. For him, love had always been sacrifice and commitment. Yet he feared what that promise might mean for Lily. He feared bringing instability into his child's life again. But he also saw how Amelia cared for Lily, how she protected her, taught her, and found joy in being part of something real. Slowly, the island transformed from a prison into a place of healing. When rescue finally came, it was almost shocking. A ship on the horizon, a flare answered, and the world rushed back into existence. Amelia returned to wealth, power, and a life she once thought defined her. Daniel returned to a world of uncertainty, aware that he could never go back to being the man he was before. The island had changed them both forever. The true test came not on the island but after. Amelia faced a choice no boardroom could prepare her for. She could return to her old life untouched, or she could risk everything for a love born in survival and truth. She chose courage. She stepped away from control and stepped into connection. Daniel, learning to trust happiness again, allowed himself to believe that second chances were real. Just before the ending, please comment below and tell us whether you believe destiny brings people together for a reason, even in the most impossible situations. In the end, their story was not about being stranded. It was about being found. Found by love, by humanity, and by the understanding that sometimes life takes everything away just to give something far more meaningful in return. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe a little more in love, kindness, and second chances, please like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive, and your support means more than you know.